Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. I hope everybody had a fabulous day, fabulous, a productive day, that everything went well. That's something that if you joined me last evening um, on the live stream, hopefully something I've said would have helped you, in your job today and you were able to share something with a friend or implement, a new practice. And so if you are stumbling upon me, my name is 𝐻𝐤𝐥𝐥 and I am a leadership coach. By day, I am my background is in human resources and I am still doing that. Um, as of the time of this recording, I am still in HR. And in the evening, and weekends, I focus on growing my business, the People's Brand. And I'm so happy to have you here, those of you who have been with me, over from since inception and who have really joined along on this journey. And so this week, I am, you know, for the last 2 weeks rather, and this week, I am speaking to you about, um, some strategies and a few things, a few topics that new leaders go through. So I help new managers. What I focus on is I help new managers develop leadership influence by mastering their relationships at work and leveraging their communication skills because as a new leader, it is important, or if you are transitioning in your career because of the pandemic or for whatever reason, it is important that you set a solid foundation, that you set yourself up for success. Um, Leadership isn't a one and done. You will always keep progressing. Communication isn't a one and done. I still work on my communication, but as you grow and learn, there are different levels and aspects and there are different focus areas that you would need to to focus on. But for someone that's new, who have no idea, who may not have the resources or guide or great mentors or great bosses to look up to, I am that person for you. And I usually, just a little bit of a disclaimer, I usually go live simultaneously. And so if you sort of see me looking back and forth, I am connecting with my viewers on Instagram when I'm here. And when I am in this direction, I am connecting with my viewers on Facebook, right? I guess at some point I need to just figure it out and, you know, so I'm just looking in one direction. Haven't figured that out yet. So last evening, I spoke. If you missed the series, the replays are up on both platforms, Facebook and Instagram, as well as YouTube. Um, and so you have those available to you. Last evening, I spoke about my signature coaching program. It's called Communicate to Influence, and it is a 90-day program, and I gave an overview of what that is. This evening, I want to speak to you about will waiting, I'm really asking the question, will waiting make it better? And and so sometimes, you know, when people need help, we know we need help, we have a way of procrastinating. We have a way of saying, you know what, let me just hold on a second. Let me just wait a little bit. Let me just not jump into it. Let me just, you know, let me hang on a little bit um, and not do anything. And that is our um, mindset, right? And so this doesn't work. This doesn't work when it comes to your development. You cannot be in a new role and decide to wait. Waiting doesn't make it better, right? Every day, and here are a few reasons. Every day you are building a habit, okay? Especially if you don't know what you don't know. Every day you are building a habit. And so you may be in this role and you're doing things, the way you communicate is not really influential. The way you communicate is far from being effective, efficient, and you're just thinking it's the other person and not realizing it is your unique communication style, which is something that we cover in the Communicate to Influence program. Uh, People fall into at least four different buckets, default ways of how they communicate, right? And so you may be blaming and saying, you know what, it's a team, they're resistant to change. And so as you decide to wait, you are actually making it worse because you're damaging those reputation. And since you don't have Olivia Pope on speed dial, and if you don't know who Olivia Pope is, well, okay, from Scandal. If you don't have Olivia Pope on speed dial, then you are going to have to undo all that damage that you have done. And when it comes to communication and when it comes to teams and even your bosses and peers, a lot of it is based on trust. And so every day you'd say, you know what, let me wait, let me just. Every day you decide not to invest in your development, you are wasting time and you're damaging the relationships around you. The other thing that you're doing is because you're not asking the right questions, you're not tapping into the resources of your team because some leaders, some managers, they're still in that mindset of an individual contributor. And I spoke a lot about it last night, and I speak a lot about it. And an individual contributor is you manage your own success. Before you were promoted, you manage your own success. You didn't have to worry about so much about your team. You didn't have to worry about anyone else contributing to your success. You managed it all. You got tasks, you got them done. But now you are in a leadership role, in a management role. You have to behave differently. And so it is not easy to make that switch, right? And so we always go back to our default ways of being. It's like if you want to stop eating sweets, right? This is the new year, and many of us we are on this dieting bandwagon, and not many of us, sorry, many of you who are on this. I don't believe in dieting like that. Many of you are on this dieting bandwagon and you are going to fall off because there is no substance behind that. There's no plan behind that, right? Because you are forming a habit. I'm sure you've heard that it takes 21 days to form a habit. Actually, it takes more. 21 days, the neurons in your brain are just kind of getting a hang of it. So it takes a few more days for that. And so when you are in a new role, you're forming new habits and you have to um, think differently, right? And I'll tell you a little bit about more module number 2 in the Communicate to Influence program, which really speaks about from I to we. And this is a module that really helps you to um, make that shift because there are actions in there, there are things you have to do, there are tools there that it helps you, it gives you the tools to make that shift. So you stop thinking about it's me, and you really focus on your team. And so all these things may be going on. So you're damaging you because you decide that, hey, I need to wait. I am not, I don't need the help. I'm gonna delay. Let me wait a little bit longer. You are damaging the relationships around you. You are damaging your reputation as a leader. Um, You are getting frustrated because you are not getting, you're ambitious, you're driven, you are a good getter, and you want to see things done. And you probably went into the role, and there are a bunch of things that need to be changed. You're trying to charge forward, but you're going about it the wrong way. You don't want the help, so you're doing it the best way that you know. All the while you're getting frustrated, you're leaving the office late, you're getting resistance from the team, and you're trying to figure out what is going on, or you may just be blaming them, right? So waiting won't make it better. And having this, when it comes to our development or getting the help that we need, procrastinating really is fear based. Whenever we procrastinate, is actually fear based. Okay. So while you wait, here are some things that are happening as well. You are stressed out because of your health, as if you don't have enough to deal with the pandemic. Here it is now. You are stressed out. Okay. Your time. And if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes, right? Your time. Okay. You spend so much time at work that I don't want to say wasted. You're spending so much time at work that the time that you would spend on leisure activities, the time with your family, the time doing other stuff, all of it is allocated to getting things done because you are delaying. You want to wait. You want to see. You think that you could figure it out. And let me tell you something, right? Being a new manager is not easy. It is not easy. It is not easy. It's almost as though you have to prove yourself that, you could be great with everybody. Like you're in this organization and you're great with everybody. Everybody likes you and whatever. Put you in a leadership role, put you as a manager, and it's a different story. You have somebody there either who wanted a job, somebody there who didn't think that you should get it, somebody who decides they don't know what you don't know what you're doing. I remember when I went into a particular role, they had somebody saying, to my boss, I don't know what I'm doing. And people make these comments. Like these are things that people go through. And sometimes when you are in a management position, it is a lonely road, especially if you want to do it the right way, especially if you want to do the right thing, especially if you're driven and you can feel a little bit lonely. And if you don't want to get the help that you need, then it's going to be even lonelier, right? And then the other thing that happens while you wait is your money. You feel like the value that you're bringing to the table is you're not being compensated for it. The, the other thing too is that you delay your compensation because whereas if you spend the time, you invest, right? And you know what you could be so much further along. So you have your money tied up. Nowadays people are not staying in jobs 5, 10 years. Nobody's doing that. And it's not about loyalty. Like people are discovering different interests. People are discovering they're going to uh, do what they want to do, right? And you delay. So people are staying in two jobs like two years, 18, well, not 18 months, but about 2 years, and they're moving on, 2 to 3 years, and they're moving on. And if you're fumbling and stumbling and your reputation, because the world has become very small, very, very small. For example, for persons who reside in the US, there is this website called Glassdoor, and they have a lot of like recruiting tips, interview tips, and so forth. But the other thing that they have on there is people go on there um, and they share feedback about employers, right? So it's out there. I don't know if we have anything like that in the Caribbean. Some people just go on Facebook and vent, right? But these are real things. And so you have to set yourself up for success. You can't be in a role fumbling and bumbling. You have work to do, right? So you tie up your money, you tie up your progress. If you tie up your progress, you're tying up your money. Whereas you can go in confidently in this role, you get the help you need, you invest in what you want up front, right? In your development up front, you get the help. You could be so much further along. Then it puts you in a better position to negotiate. Then it puts you in a better position to say, you know, Mr. Boss, Mrs. Boss, this is what I've done, that. And you're checking off the list and you're showing value. You bring value to the role, you're showing much you're valuable, and you negotiate. Because right now, people don't want to lose great employees. Right now, there's this thing called the great resignation. And they call it the great resignation because there is a slew of people, I'll call it slew, of people resigning at fast rates. Okay, and so companies are now trying to figure out how to retain their best talent. I was on a webinar, I think it was today's Tuesday, yeah. I was on a webinar yesterday and they were talking about um, that same thing, the great resignation. And because it's a hot topic in the HR world, in the in the business world in general. And the presenter was saying that for your top employees, for a great employee, if someone were to lure them away, so a competitor wants to take that particular employee, they'll have to offer them like 20% more of what they're making. For someone who is not a great performer, they're going to leave anyway, they'll leave for anything. And so I share that information to show you that people want great talent. People are paying for great talent. And if a competitor wants you, you have a great reputation, because we don't know who people know. We don't know who people know or who people are connected with, right? Or the organizations they're connected to. The world is small. And so somebody may be out there just eyeing you. Somebody may be out there just looking for that next great talent, right? LinkedIn is out there. If you're on LinkedIn, that's that's the playground. LinkedIn even and I know I'm going off topic a bit, but I think that this is important for you to understand that waiting doesn't make it better, right? LinkedIn has a feature, and I think they did it during the pandemic, where you can actually say that you're looking for work. And if you're listening to me and you don't have a LinkedIn profile, you need to go get a LinkedIn profile, right? I live on a 68 square mile island, right? And I got a job because of LinkedIn. And that job paid me when I left the Marriott. That job paid me more than what the Marriott was paying me. I'm telling you. And I live in a small community on an island. So if you are looking at me and you reside on, within the federation, don't ever think when she's talking about LinkedIn, don't reach out to people. You have got it wrong because there are a lot of companies out there that a lot of US companies or companies on a whole that have branches or subsidiaries or whatever franchises. You just don't know. You just never know. So I am a firm believer in LinkedIn. Okay. Um, but yes, back to my topic. So waiting. You're waiting in vain. You're waiting in vain, and you're delaying your progress. You are damaging your reputation, and you're tying up your money. Okay. And so let me share with you in the communicator influence, the second module, like I mentioned, is I2. And it is the second module for a reason. It is because, like I mentioned, people have a default way of being. it is unreasonable to expect you to just switch just like that when you're a new manager, and this is why you need the help. And so this module actually gives you tools for managers. That's what I call it, tools for managers. And it gives you templates that you can use. It sets you up for success, gives you an outline that you can use so that you can start shifting away from that I thing and more thinking more team based and thinking as a frontline leader. The really cool thing about this module as well is, as ambitious go getters and people who, who want to get it done, um, I've mentioned 4 areas. I show you 4 areas that you can focus on along with managing the team and making that connection and switch, right? 4 areas that you can focus on, that if you work for any company anywhere, if you focus on any one of these areas, you add value. Doesn't matter which industry, which part of the world. If you focus on any of these 4 areas, you um, you bring value to the table, and that is what companies want. Always bring value. Always train yourself. If you get nothing else from this live stream, wherever you go, train yourself to bring value wherever you go. It's like going to somebody's house and you show up empty handed. You go to someone's house, it's a great practice to take something with you, some flowers, a bottle of wine, some sort of chocolate, some sort of dessert, or something. Don't show up empty handed. Bring value. Train yourself to bring value, to add value wherever you go. When I do my live streams, my intention is always to bring value to whatever I do. It's something that I practice in my personal life, it's something that I practice in my professional life, and I'm sharing this with you. You bring value, you're set. Okay. And so the Communicate Influence program is a 90-day. If you didn't join me last night, it's my 90-day signature coaching program. There's a link um, in the bio. If you're on Instagram, it says Communicate to Influence. It gives you more in-depth look at the modules. If you're on Facebook, visit my website. I think it's right there. And then schedule a consultation call. If this is you, if you're a new manager, you know you need the help, and I'm speaking to you, right? And this is resonating with you, then schedule a consultation call. Let us chat. Let's see how we can figure it out, what your goals are, what your particular situation is, because I'd love to help you develop your influential leadership. All right. Thank you for joining me. That's it. That's what I have for you this evening. I will be back tomorrow evening and Thursday. But like I mentioned, you can catch the replays are up. If you love this, share it out. If the person you want to send it to doesn't have Facebook or Instagram, you can send it. You can send them my YouTube link, because I'm uploading these videos on YouTube as well. All right. So thank you for joining me. Have a great evening, and I will speak to you tomorrow. Bye.